Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. I'm coming at you with the Haslab Unicron production update number 2. We've got some pictures, we've got some information, not a whole lot of information, but some pictures, and we also get to see the progress of this. I've had a lot of questions, people asking me about this whole thing, so I'm going to talk about what the Haslab Unicron crowdfunding project was, is, and will be. I'm going to talk about this update a bit, and then I'm going to talk a little about Zeta. I need to clear up some stuff about Zeta. A lot of people still don't understand the whole situation of Zeta's involvement. All this is coming up. So Haslab is a division of Hasbro. It is their crowdfunding division to make dream projects that would not get made for standard retail release. We've already seen Star Wars and their Cell Barge that was very successful. The second successful Haslab project is going to be this Unicron. Now this is history in the making, but if you started collecting this year, you probably don't even know about this thing. A small window of 2 months for you to order this, and you had to pay for it up front. You're not going to get it till 2021. So those were some issues during the funding period. And it was $575 basically, plus tax, making what, $628, something like that. And needed a minimum of 8,000 backers by August 31st of 2019. Now they didn't have that many by then. They didn't have near the 8,000. So they extended it another month or so. Or 44 days, an additional 40 days, 44 days, something like that. And went to like 11 or 13,000. Now the numbers on the site went crazy, and then they took the numbers down. That we don't see the numbers, so nobody truly knows the total number of backers. But if you didn't get into that, then you could have gotten on with one of the other sites that were selling it. So places like BBTS and TF Source were offering some for sale at a higher price, and you only had to put like $155 down, and then you would pay the rest later. But you'd end up paying a total of $700, $750, and depending on where you ordered it, plus tax. But it gave you a little bit more time to pay for it, but for a higher price. And that was also an option for international buyers, because Haslab wasn't offering this internationally, so they partnered with a bunch of different companies so they would do it. We also saw the failure of the Cookie Monster. Yes, the failure of Cookie Monster. It didn't get back, and I think Hasbro, they're going to put more consideration into what projects they actually try to get funded going forward. So at this point, if you want to get one of these guys, you're probably going to have to wait for it to get released and then buy it on the secondary market. There's going to be quite a bit of a late tax for it. I don't really think there'll be any other way unless all of these partners have extra stock that they ordered themselves, and they'll offer them on their site. But it's still going to be more than the $575 price. And a lot of people felt like that was too much to start with. So when you're looking at getting into the $1,000, $1,200 range or whatever, once it's released, it is going to be quite a pricey piece. Now with that little summary out of the way, let's get into the production update. So they're working on it. This is their test shot. This is made with different color of plastics, and it was to test out their mold. And the thing is, it's going to be a little rough around the edges, and so they want to see exactly what issues are going to have with the molds. Are the molds ready to go? Are they going to be able to put this thing into full go production? And then when they put it together, is everything going to flow right and move right? And of course, it's like the first pancake. You know, the first pancake is usually a throwaway, right? Well, with this one here, they're going to try to find any flaws before they go to production. I guess they use whatever plastic is laying around, and that's why it's this color. So this is a picture of the mold. You can actually see the Unicron head in there, and so they test this. It looks cool. I always like seeing the behind the scenes kind of stuff, and with every step of the way, we're seeing more and more of the behind the scenes work with all these Haslab projects, and that's kind of part of the fun, isn't it? So they have a series of shots in their homes, the homes of designers and different people that are part of this project. And they are working from home instead of in an office building because of what is going on right now. And it's kind of funny that they do show these pictures, but this cat here is, I guess, chewing on Unicron, on the horn. So that was kind of an interesting take there. And here we are in the kitchen. This kitchen shot is of not a production test 1 model. This is their model that they had. I think they were using this one at the shows and stuff, but this is not an in production model. This is one that they put, what, 20,000 hours worth of work into making this guy. So they had to make this one before they could make the actual molds, and that's what this guy is. And here he is sitting on the couch, and they just kind of want to show how big he is, size of this guy. You get to see the bottom of his feet. I don't think we've seen the bottoms of his feet like that before. They do say that he is 11 inches, a depth of 11 inches. So that's crazy. That's like how thick he is. Here he is longingly looking out a window. But they kind of wanted to show the size. This is how big he is, looking out a window, kind of the size of maybe a toddler. But he is going to be big, he's going to be beefy, and we're getting to see it from different angles, whether this is a flattering angle or not. And here it is. This is actually the model, not the test shot. And it's out sitting in a pond or a lake. So one more interesting picture that I see from this update, and I kind of like, is the packaging. It's a little underwhelming in my opinion. It does look like a crate of eggs. I don't know if you work in a restaurant business and you've ever seen a crate of eggs. It just looks like an egg crate, a half case of egg crate. But the size of this, the dimensions, it's like 26 inches by 26 inches by 26 inches, something like that. So a little over 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot cube. And so it's going to be a big, giant box. That's going to be a huge box. And coming and showing up at your house, this wouldn't fit on a store shelf. Like, no place would make room for this on the store shelf. And of course, no one would have room for a $575 price point either. Now there's another picture of the other mandible. So it's coming along, they're moving forward. Eventually they're going to get into where they're actually producing them and cranking them out. I really would like for them to reveal the actual number they produce. They never actually did that with the cell bars. They never gave the true amount, the true number produced. We're all guessing around 10,000. Even though it only got funded for 8810, why they made more, yeah, that was a sticky situation in itself. So with this one, it would be nice to know how many. Okay, so what's going on with Zeta? Now, this whole situation with Zeta was kind of a good and a bad situation. First of all, Zeta revealed theirs during this funding campaign. And a lot of people feel like Zeta got in the way of Hasbro conducting their business. That it would have been backed, but then a lot of question was in people's minds about, well, do I want to get the 27-inch Haslab or the 18-inch Zeta? And will Zetas, and people thought Zetas would be like 150. We know that's wrong now. Now it's going to be closer to 400. And so all of these issues coming up. But Zeta didn't back off. They actually just kept putting out videos and more pictures and stuff. And Zeta started out with like a picture of a horn or something like that. And it worked its way in like that. They didn't come out and show this, but they did show it all before the funding was ended and got in the way. Now, Hasbro went after Zeta and made every single video on YouTube get taken down that had anything to do with Zeta. Didn't affect me, thank goodness. Hasbro allegedly was putting pressure on the third-party distributors. And here's the thing, we're about to see what influence Hasbro has over all of these distributors, since a lot of the US distributors actually carry Hasbro products. And if Hasbro threatened to pull that so they couldn't sell their products and no longer service them, then that would be a lot of revenue they would lose. So at that time, none of the US sellers were going to offer this thing. So the rumor is Zeta went ahead and sold off the mold to Studio Cell, a 01 Studio Cell. I'm not even sure if that's the name of the figure, the name of the company, but that's the rumor. Now, Zeta did kind of back off and kind of just, we didn't hear a peep out of them for months after Hasbro went after them. And it was a good thing that they did that, because had they kept pressing, we might have had issues with getting Fans Toys, MMC, X-Transbots, and as far as I'm concerned, the only thing we've really gotten from Zeta that's new that was really worth getting so far are their two combiners. With this, on the other hand, it is a nice looking design, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's way too small to be a Unicron, but it looks good, and it looks good in bot mode. It looks sort of good in planet mode, but the price is way higher than anyone expected it would be. So we keep seeing pictures of it without its head. It will come as a separate head kit, is what I'm understanding, so that there won't be any legality issues. But if you order through ShowZ, where I'm getting mine, they will include the head kit with it. That's all included in the price. But that's my understanding. The reason why you're seeing it without a head is so that we won't have a rehash of Hasbro going after them in possible litigation and all that. And yes, China doesn't look at copyright infringement rules and laws the same as the US does, but they are cracking down to a point in China. Lastly, I do want to touch on one last point. It seems like the community is very divided on this figure simply because it's not 100% perfect. When you look at the lower legs and the back, there's a lot of kibble. And with that, that's an issue. It will be the biggest one made once it's made. And it looks, you can tell it's Unicron. You know for a fact it's Unicron. There's a lot of good things and a lot to like about it. But we can all agree it's not 100% perfect. So there are people that adamantly hate this, whether they hate it because of the price, because of the aesthetic. But there's people that love this because of the size, because of the aesthetic. I mean, this has split the community, and it seems like there's only a handful of lukewarm people. The majority of people are either I love it or I hate it. And I can tell you, I talked with my wallet, I bought two, so you know where I stand. Where do you stand on the Haslab Unicron? Like, subscribe, Titanium Hanger out.